Hello, hello. I am Bridget Rowe. I am energy. I am powerful, and I am who I say I am. Thank you for joining. I'm trying to share this to a couple of more people. Yeah, excuse me. I just washed my hair, so if I'm dripping, I'm sorry. After I finish this video, I'm going outside to sit in the sun. But anyway, I want to share this one more time before I begin. You see my title, we about to have coronavirus church up in here. And I'm so serious. Let me see. Share to a group. Let's see. 1 second. And I'll begin and I won't be long. I just want to share a couple of things. Let's see. Share one more time. I think it's funders. Let's see. One more time. And post. Okay. I'm back. Sorry about that. So the purpose of this video is to share some knowledge with church people, religious people, because they shut the doors of the church, and I don't know if they're not in the healing business no more, but I'm still here. So I want to talk to them since they're not going to service. Maybe they're home, maybe they're bored, and they can listen to this message on a Sunday and get a better understanding of what's going on, not just physically, but spiritually, because they already know the scriptures, but they probably know it in a different way from the physical, from it being allegory type stories. So anyway, before I get into this here, you know, the churches, they always have their little building funds. So let me put my website on here. I got a vegan food truck fund. Salvierpub.org. Okay, I put that in my comments. That's my website. Let me see if I got my website over there that I could put on the bottom. Visit my website. The first link on my website is a donation tab. I don't have a building fund, but I have a vegan food truck fund. I need one of those Clover registers. This is for the healing of the nations now. Clover register, or one of those commercial ovens for my food truck, for your immunity. Anyway, let's see. Let me go back over here. Hello, Ruthie. Hello, lady alive, the one. I like that. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you being here. So, if anybody want to click on my website and do a donation for the Corona Church, do so when you can. So before we begin, I want to remind you all of this church song. So the choir is going to sing a song. I'm not going to be the choir. I can't sing, y'all, but I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do this out of love because I want you to get the concept of all the things that I'm going to be talking about. Remember, they had this song. My auntie, she was a country lady. Maybe this wasn't how the song went, but just for how we sung it in our church. It says, "Oh, the blood." And she would say, "Oh, the blood, oh, the blood, oh, the blood has signed my name." And then the next verse would be like, "Can't you see? Can't you see? Can't you see what the blood has done? Oh, the blood has signed my name." So when we sing that song, or when I sing that song rather, I'm not talking about the blood of Jesus. I'm talking about your blood. I'm talking about the blood in your DNA. Just for a moment, let's just pretend. I know you all, we all grew up to love Jesus and think outside of ourselves, but let's pretend that we were talking about our blood. Because the coronavirus has everything to do with immunity, our DNA, our immunity, our lifeline. So the blood all the time that we were singing about the blood of Jesus, I look at that from a religious standpoint is that all that time we were singing about ourselves. I've been online for maybe 2 years. I have about 200 videos on my YouTube channel. And that's what I've been trying collectively to share the message of you being the Christ, you being the anointed one, you being the one that got to save yourself. Church is closed. You got to save yourself. And it's about your DNA. It's about your blood. It's about your lifeline. It's about your connection to your source of energy. It's about your Christ within. It's about the biblical text telling you, upon this rock, I build my church, that the gates of hell should not prevail against it. The rock that I'm talking about is your pineal gland. When we talk about this being the Corona church service that I'm having right here, Corona means crown. So we're having a church service based upon our crown, our consciousness, our higher thinking. Because collectively, we are energy. We are consciousness. We are thought. We're so much of thought that we're blind, and we need our friends, our senses like the touch, the smell, the taste. We need them to go out and tell us what it is that we are experiencing. And they gather that information and we make an image of it and we call it our reality. But it's all just thought. That's why everybody have different perspectives of their reality. Okay? So what I'm getting at here is that your blood is tied to your immunity. And if you don't do anything right now in this moment, at this time, at this season in life, you must take care of your temple, your body, where Christ lives, the church. And you should not allow your church to be a den of thieves. It's supposed to be the house of God, but a lot of us have turned it into a den of thieves, robbing our own self from a good quality of life, robbing our own self from rising to the highest point in our life, like the fifth dimension, which is directly tied to this 5G that we're experiencing. Everybody's talking about 5G, So this fifth dimension, I look at that like the chakra pools of energy, if you don't understand that. So we have these energy pools inside of us, And so remember, okay, you could get it like this here. I'll remind you of a biblical text in the Bible when Jesus went out to the mount to pray. The next scripture, it said that he was in a wilderness to pray, and then he come out, and the next thing was that he was tempted by the devil, And so the devil was tempting Jesus, in this allegory text, on lower chakra levels, from survival, from temptation and from power, when he was saying, bow down to me, and then when he was saying, hey, you hungry, you can eat this. And then Jesus, in so many words, was saying, man should not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. And then, well, wouldn't God say if you jump from this cliff? The devil was saying, in the words Jesus was saying, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. That was the sacral chakra. And then the devil tempted him and said, look out, of all of this, I'll give you all this if you bow down to me. That was a temptation of the next chakra level of energy, which is all about power. But the fourth one is your heart chakra. The heart chakra that's supposed to be as light as a feather. See, we collectively, our energy are passing from fourth dimension or heart chakra level to the higher chakras, to the fifth dimension. That's where you meet God. This is a spiritual thing I'm talking about. You see, like just like in math, they'll call it pi. Just like we have 5 fingers on this hand, 5 fingers on this hand, but we meet God in the middle. We meet God after that fifth dimensional plane, because everything, all the chakras up here, this is how you tap into higher consciousness, meet God. So basically, that's what we're doing here in this physical But in order to meet there, we have to become lighter beings. We become lighter beings when we lighten our load, like let's go to the secular music, Erica Badu. I know y'all only listen to church music, but Erica Badu had a a song, Bag Lady. Bag Lady, you gonna hurt your back toting all those bags like that. Let it go, let it go, let it go, she says. So in so many words, not only do you hurt your back with fear, with worry, with a weakened immune system, with stress, with overworking yourself, with not loving yourself. Not only you do that by holding them bags, but you separate yourself from the love of God, from your higher self. You're not able to walk on water. You can never become Lazarus. Lazarus, you can never come forth. You can never wake up because you're toting so much. When you have a weakened immune system, when you're low frequency, I like to call it low frequency to stay out of the religious aspect. But today we have in church, so I got to jump into a couple of scriptures so you can better understand what I'm saying to you and break it down. You digest what you want to digest because it's your journey, and spit out what you want to spit out because it's your journey. But at least give an ear, because that's what the Bible was all about. I wrote a book, He Who Has an Ear, Let Him Hear, because the message is not going to be for everybody, because it's not everybody's lifetime. But the point is that you should have a healthy immune system during this time. And in having a healthy immune system, it is not time to have supper plates, no Corona chitlins, no Corona beers right now. This is not the time for that. I know church people drink beer. They don't do that. It's not the time for Corona crawfish. It's not the time for Corona pasta, Corona Boston baked butt, Corona pigtails. It's not the time for those things because it weakens your immunity. See, we should be incorporating things that have life, the carbon footprint of life, the carbon, the hydrogen and oxygen, because that's where you meet God, in the gaseous state, the hydrogen state, because God is spirit. God is energy. So your energy has to be light, so you can sup with God. And so what's happening in the physical reality, they have some heavy beings that are gonna kind of like die out, so to speak. Because see, we all are collective forms of energy. We're all collective forms of energy. We all have the ability to tap into our higher self and exude that Christ consciousness and have that that crystal fluid flow through us down our Jacob's ladder, down our spine, so we can rise again. How this is how we meet God when we wake up. That's how we meet God. But some people just go through different levels to meet them. It don't matter if you meet them in church. It don't matter if you meet them in a near-death experience. But it comes a moment that we all have to wrestle to meet God. And so I'm saying this because in the physical reality, some people are going to have to die. And so when I say that, I don't mean that to be ugly, but I want you to understand this death thing. So we can look at death and we can all say, oh, death, where is thy sting? Because death is an illusion. If you are energy, we have some beings maybe that's on low frequency of energy. If we are all the collective consciousness, if the universe frequency is increasing, therefore our frequency should be increasing. This is why it says in the biblical text, well, in the prayer rather, on earth as it is in heaven, you are connected to all things, as above, so below. So if the energy of frequency of the universe is increasing, that means the people or the energies of this world that make up the collective consciousness, we all should be evolving with our energy, so our energy can be increasing also. And if not, there's a lag. So we have some people that's going to be lagging. Some people it's going to be lagging, and then so every time I think about those that are lagging, I understand that those are the ones that's going to have to die. But because energy is never destroyed, it simply transforms. And really, if you think about it, it really is no death. It really is no death. You know, absence in the body, they say in church, means present with the Lord. So that energy that wasn't evolving, that was lagging, sups with God. It goes back to the source, the all, love, God, heaven, whatever you call it, the universe, consciousness. And so it reminds me, every time I hear that song, I guess I see you next lifetime. That's Erykah Badu also, I believe. I guess I see you next lifetime. No hard feelings. Because you're lagging and you were supposed to be keeping up with the collective, the consciousness, because we're energy. We're supposed to evolve from one dimension to another. We're on our way to ascension. We already fell. We already were the fallen. Now it's time to rise, but you don't want to rise. You want to be low frequency. So I guess I see you next lifetime. No hard feelings. So you go back to source. And when your low energy frequency goes back to source, then you're going to tap back in. And now you're going to be a higher form of energy. And then you will be able to reconnect with us in another lifetime. And so, and that reminds me of the next part in that song. Your energy feels so damn good to me. So now your energy feels so good to me. At first you were lagging and I said, I'll see you next lifetime. Now your energy feels so damn good to me. It keeps me up. Don't want to go down. You got me spinning all around because now it's time to rise. Now it's time to go to the fifth dimension where we meet God, where we sup with God. But you have to do your work and save yourself in order to meet God. All that begging, I did it. And crying. If there is a God, why is the world the way it is? I did it too. That's low frequency. That's low frequency. You don't meet God right there, and God not going to come down and say, Bridget, I'm right here. No. No, you got to rise up. You got to rise up to meet God. So that means you have to increase your immunity, your frequency, your thought, you know, your energy. Your energy has to be going in motion. But at this time, a lot of people's energy is fixed on fear. A lot of people's energy is fixed on worry. And I wonder if this is going to happen. And I wonder what's going on. Well, let me watch the news again because I'm just so worried. That's not the right frequency we need to be on if we want to meet God. We're going to have those thoughts. It's a beautiful thing because we're collective consciousness. We're not going to escape any of the thoughts. We're all going to have the thought, but we have to transform that thought into a positive form of thought. Like I said, for instance, okay, well, if I were to have the thought right now and say, man, I wonder what's going to happen when I walk outside to dry my hair. I wonder if the coronavirus is going to get my hair. Oh, if I had that thought and I go outside, I could transform the energy of that thought and I'd be like, Bridget, come on now. Corona means crown, Bridget. Your crown chakra already open, Bridget. Bridget, what about no weapon formed against you shall prosper, Bridget? Bridget, you have been here before. We've done this before. There's nothing new under the sun, Bridget. Bridget, dry your hair. Bridget, look at how beautiful this day is. Bridget, look at this peace. Don't you feel this peace? Don't you feel connected to the universe right now? You see, you can lighten all of those thoughts and increase those thoughts to a higher frequency thought and cancel out the negative one. That's how you begin to vibrate higher. So anyway, I got some notes, or should I call the program. This is going to be the church program for today. Little bullet points that I want to share with you all. And like I said, I'm not going to be here long. Wait, let me look at these comments. I'm not going to be here long. I'm just talking. Wait. Hey, Emmanuel, thank you for being here. Thank you. Hey, David, thank you for being here. David Jones is here. Anika says, amen. Let the church say amen. Let me see. Jimmy Woods, hello there, Pastor. Every dress look very beautiful. Who came up for you? Preach the word of God. Yes, thank you. Hey, Danae, thank you for being here. It is consciousness. Yes, it is. Hey, Daryl, thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you. The unavoidable truth queen. Yes. Thank you all for being here. So let the church program begin. So we're talking about 5G today, and we're talking about how to increase your immunity and your frequency. And so 5G alone weakens your immune system. And I'm not talking about the fifth dimension where we're evolving to. I'm talking about 5G, the network, the frequencies, dealing with our electronics and our cell phone that we're feeling at this time. And so the reason why I have that on my program is because I want you to know that not only will we be experiencing in the next few months 5G, but right after 5G is coming 6G. Now on my YouTube channel, I already talked maybe 2 years ago about 5G, but I guess nobody was listening at that time. Sometimes we don't listen until it's that time. I talked about the 5G already and what it's going to be doing to those with low immunity. That's why I always was saying, increase your frequency. I always was saying, we got to let go of that toxic eating, that toxic thinking. I did so many videos about that. I did a video about the blood already. I did a video about increasing your frequency, discernment, all of my products that will help to get rid of old fecal matter, so you won't be in panic mode right now. So you can understand, because a lot of people are just in panic mode right now simply because they don't really know what's going on. And so I talked about 2020 vision, 2020 here now. I've been doing this here for a while. I wrote a book about it. All of this already in the book. But let me show you. Before I go, let me see. This was when I ain't even wear. I'm going down my video list. I ain't even used to wear makeup or nothing back in these days. Let's see. I got one in here when I was telling y'all to wake up long time ago. There's a scripture that reads, if there's anyone sick among let me see. Among us, let them call upon the elders of the church. Now that I'm spiritual, I believe that to mean, if there is anyone sick among us, let us stop killing ourselves, because we can kill ourselves daily with the things we consume, like high fructose corn syrup that tricks your brain into thinking that you're hungry when you're really full. And then there's this mucus and pus we consume, and we call it milk. The solid form of that we call cheese, but it's actually mold. Then if we consume these breads with yeast and glue actually sticking to the intestine and preventing minerals to be absorbed, we wonder why we become stagnated. Finally, there's these different type of animals that we eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we wonder why or how we have become animalistic. So if there be anyone sick among us, let us stop transferring dead energy inside of us, and let us stop killing ourselves with a fork. Wake up, gods. I was fire energy back then. Well, I guess I still am, since I'm an Aryan. Anyway, I've been sharing these things on my page, on my channel, because I already knew what was to come. And this is not it though. So low frequency beings are gonna feel this. So that's why it's so important not to be stressing, so important to be eating lighter food, so important to handle those thoughts, that consciousness, we have to become stronger beings mentally. This is about corona, the mental side of things, not just physically, the mental. Because even with becoming a vegan, it doesn't really stop there. You have to mentally know that all is well with you, with the things that you consume. And this is why we're supposed to be blessing the food. This is what grace is all about. We're supposed to be transforming the energy of the things that we're consuming, that we're thinking. When you consume something, it doesn't mean you just consuming it with your mouth. You consume stuff every day through consciousness. And so this is the things that we should be working on for our corona, our crown chakra, for our evolving state, our Christ consciousness becoming state. Okay. And so anyway, after 5G gonna come 6G, and then it's gonna be 7G. So I've been doing this for a while, saying, come on, y'all. So maybe this will be the thing that'll help you come on. And then if this one don't be the thing, then when 6G comes, maybe you'll come on. And then if that don't be the thing, maybe your energy will be the one that will see you next lifetime. And then when you go back to source and come back, then maybe you'll come on. Anyway, what's next? Oh, don't take the shot. Well, I don't want to say it like that. I want to say it like, because you do what you want to do in your physical reality. I want to say there's going to be a vaccine. And see, this is the pivotal thing, though. You got to know when people talking to you. Okay? And sometimes people are not talking to you individually. So there's a vaccine that's going to come, and it's supposed to be a new vaccine. It ain't never even been studied yet, but they just going to go ahead on and try to zap some guinea pigs. They got some guinea pigs, some little ducks out there that's quacking, that's taking it and don't know what it's going to do, because a year is supposed to pass. They're supposed to do studying and research to see, I'm sorry, my hair wet if y'all just get there, to see if this vaccine will work, but no, it's popping brand new. Come on in, because they scared you enough to come on and get it. The only reason why I'm saying just be mindful and do your research on about taking it is because you got to understand your blood. We're going back to the blood. This is about blood. This here is the Passover that I believe it was in the book of Exodus. The Passover, when they put the blood on the frame of the house or the tent or whatever they were living in, and nobody got hurt in those particular houses. They were passed over because it was something about the blood. Not the blood of Jesus. I'm talking about your blood still. Something about that blood. Something about the blood. And so, so the reason why I'm saying to stay away from that is because some people have different kinds of blood. And the people that have melanin type blood, and I'm not saying this, I really don't like really talking this way, so it may seem like I'm trying to exit certain people out. I'm being tactful in my delivery here. Some people just have stronger blood. And so this particular vaccine is really not for the people that have this melanin blood, because that melanin blood is stronger blood that can fight off of viruses and sickness and disease, because it's so many times more powerful than those weaker bloodlines. We had the O type blood, and it goes down to, the A's and the B's, and, well, the O Anunnaki type blood, powerful purging type blood, can fight off things that, others may not. And so when they call for the vaccine and they have things in the vaccine that you already have, like melanin, then you shouldn't be getting stuck. Then what else is in there that you need? What, an extra virus, an extra load of lithium or mercury or whatever else is inside of it? So just be mindful. Just like it's almost like when they make melatonin pills. Well, you melanated people, produce that naturally. Why would I take a melatonin pill, that 5-HTP pill or whatever, brand it is? Why? they're not talking to me. Just like when I go outside and go dry my hair, it's like I'll be sitting in the sun, but some people, they would like to put maybe sunscreen on their skin, or maybe they'll have to have their sunglasses on them because they probably really can't see or tolerate the sun or get blinded by the sun. But I have hue or color in my eye. I have hue or color in my skin that actually protects me from harmful rays of the sun, because I'm a child of the sun. So maybe, just maybe, all I'm saying is maybe they're not talking to me. You got to know when people talking to you. We all learned this in school. Don't get mad at me because I'm delivering the message. We learned this in school. We learned this with that recessive trait and that dominant trait. Some people just have weaker traits. So sometimes people are not talking to you. That's all I'm saying about the shot. If they're talking to you, though, you do what you got to do and what you think is necessary. But they're not talking to me. Okay, let me see. The next thing on the program is find the beauty. Find the beauty in this moment, the peace in this moment, the joy in this moment. Some people are working from home. Some people are around family. Some people feel so free. You could go outside and, even if you're afraid to go outside, you could open up the door, window, and just look out the screen. The storm door, screen door, whatever you have, the glass window, whatever, and just look outside and see the beauty in the universe and see the good. You got to find the good in it all. Got to find the good in it all. When we were in church, we always had testimony time, right? And we would just talk about the goodness of Jesus, right? Well, what about the goodness of the universe? What about the goodness in the storm? Seeing the goodness. Just like Peter, that's why he was sinking in the water, because all he wanted to do was pay attention to the storm. He didn't want to look at the goodness. And I want to read to you really quickly this. I'm not going to say this person's name. This person bought a product off my website. And I was replying to, I replied maybe 2 or 3 days later because I had been so busy. And basically the person was just saying to me, they received it in so many words. And is there anything else that I can do during this time, during this pandemic, is what they said. And I replied to them in so many words. I want to read this because I want to share what I replied to them, because this is good information to help you along your journey too. It says, hi, I'm sorry, I'm just viewing this message. It's been a busy time, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Okay. Aside from the product that she ordered, I told her about the sea moss that I sell, because it there are minerals in it that boost the immune system and keep it strong. And then I put on here, I said other tips are drinking plenty of water, getting rest, eating cherries. And I said, why? Why cherries? Cherries because they are mega antioxidants and they help with melatonin production to help you sleep and get you some rest at night, is why I was saying that. I said, can't find cherries? Drink cherry juice. Oop, I'm dripping again, y'all. I'm sorry. Can't find cherries? Drink cherry juice. Why? Because it decalcifies the pineal gland and protects your melanin. Then I also said green leafy vegetables. Why? Because the magnesium, the chlorophyll, and the iodine helps to detox the body or your melanin, and just is good for your overall body. And I also share with her cold pressed extra virgin. I talk about that all the time. Cold pressed extra virgin unrefined coconut oil. Why? Because the L-tyrosine inside of it helps with our melatonin, our melanin production. And so all of that protects your melanin. But more importantly, your thoughts are powerful, is what I shared with her, because all is mental. I said, say to yourself and believe that my cells are regenerating. My DNA is active. I am a new being. I feel good. I love how my body is feeling better each day. I love knowing I am the universe and the universe is me. I feel so alive and connected to all things. I feel so organic, so whole, so fresh, so healthy, so energetic. I know that the frequency of the universe is increasing, and so is the frequency of my body at a cellular level. I believe this with all of my heart. As I hold this thought, this knowing, I am trusting the process. And I told this person, I said, say that with your hand on your heart and create that thought, knowing that all is well and it shall be. Because all is well, and you create your own reality through your thought. So you already winning is what I shared with that person. Be blessed. And so that's just like what we do in church, for testimony time. We just want to tell of the goodness. And another thing about church that I'm reminded of, when praises go up, blessings come down. And so I want to remind you of that with your mental, with your corona, with your crown. Use it to think good thoughts. Finally, my brother, whatsoever things that are just, whatsoever things that are pure, whatsoever things that are of good report, think on these things. Remember that in the biblical text? That's how you get over the storm. Think on these things. So anyway, we're going to have, like, when 5G comes, when 6G comes, we're going to have another scare, another virus, until we keep on chucking, because we're on a journey. We're going back up. Technology is going to be increasing, just like the things that we're around, like microphones. When we first saw microphones, that probably was new to us, like, oh, that's really cool, but we've been there before. We're just on our way back, because anything that has fallen down must rise. We're underneath that law of rhythm. Or if you are in church, you look at it as the book of Ecclesiastes talks about the seasons. Remember in the Ecclesiastes 3, there's a time for everything underneath the sun. See, if we knew about our past, this is why those that ancient knowledge is really true, because then you'll be able to put the pieces together and you'll understand what's going on right now. That ancient knowledge is so true, because there's nothing new under the sun. And you can say, oh, well, so there was time when seasons changed, and so some, were on high and then they fell, the nations fell and stuff. And then they rose again. And okay, I kind of get this here. This season, this law of rhythm, that ties into Ecclesiastes 3:1. A time to be born, a time to die. Wait, I took a screenshot. I don't have my Bible in here. I'm having church without a Bible. How you do that? But I got Google. Okay, so look, in Ecclesiastes it says, to everything there is a season. You know this, church people. And a time to everything under the sun. Under the heaven, it says, a time to be born, a time to die. So this correlates. This is why I always talk about the law of rhythm, because the Bible, ancient knowledge actually precedes this biblical text. But I'm just sharing both ways. So wherever you are, it don't matter where you are in your journey, you can understand what I'm saying here. So if you're looking at the law of the seasons in the Bible, it correlates to the law of rhythm. Things swinging on the pendulum, You might think those things, maybe that's those voodoo people that they be having the pendulums just be spinning. No. Anyway, a time to be born. And so this is like, my finger's going to be like the pendulum. A time to be born. A time to die. A time to plant. A time to pluck up that which was planted. A time to kill, a time to heal. You see, it's just a pendulum spinning. This is our life. This is the cycle of it all, because it's tied to the laws of rhythm. A time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, a time to dance. You know the deal. You know that word. So this is a season or time for us to evolve higher. They talk about the ascension. You'll hear conscious beings talking about ascension in the age of Aquarius. In the biblical text, the same thing when they say, tell us, when will be the time or the season that you will return? It's just no different. And so in this particular season, there's an energy of an ancient one, and that will be the energy of thought. Thought. I call it thought. It's thought. 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 So the energy of thought is like this ancient energy of like the in the biblical text, it'll be like the Nephilim or the Anunnaki type, those large type beings or gods, that predate the Bible. That particular energy is present now. And the reason why that particular energy is present now, because we're going to go back to Corona Church, we're going to go back to the crown or consciousness, because those served as an energy that helped to enlighten beings. So this is why everybody is waking up and getting the minds of themselves and kind of questioning things and kind of getting more connected to the collective consciousness, and our thoughts are bouncing off of one another thoughts. And then we're saying, oh, wait, I was just thinking that, and then somebody else is saying it, because we're getting our consciousness and our ability to tap into one another, because like, that song, when I move, you move, just like that, the little rap song, Ludacris or whatever, our thoughts work just like that. When I think something, really, you could hear my thoughts. This is why when you might be thinking about somebody and the phone ring, oh, they heard you, but they wasn't here, it was way across the state. So we're evolving, and when we evolve, we tap into the source, the consciousness, the all, the God, and so everybody began to hear. But sometimes we're still sleeping, and so sometimes we have eyes and we cannot see, and we have ears and we cannot hear. And so in the biblical text with the parables of Jesus healing the sick and raising the dead, he was raising them to the corona, the crown, to connect with the consciousness. Okay. And so at this particular time, that particular energy of thought is in the universe. And so we have all these things in the universe right now that's going on. We have the effects of 5G, the network, the energy that might be weakening some immune system if they were on low frequency already. Then we got the energy from people waking up because of the energy of thought that's present here. Then we have the energy from the sun, the sun sun that's in the sky, because believe it or not, this particular world, this particular earthly plane is ruled by the sun. That's why it says in your biblical text, the Lord thy God is a sun and shield. So it's ruled by the sun, and people call this sun Ra. So we have this Ra energy, the sun energy that is affecting us. But we also have in the air, we have this other energy. See, we get hit all kind of ways. So you got to be feeling something right now. We also have in the air, we have chemtrails, in the air, because they're trying to cover up. They're trying to cover up this other energy. They've been doing this, where they spray in the sky, they have chemtrails and they have contrails. And so there's a difference in the two. The chemtrails are more harmful. The contrails are just like exhaust fumes from regular planes. But the chemtrails, they're more harmful in that they have that lithium, the same stuff that's in those vaccination shots, that lithium, that heavy metal, mercury and stuff that's coming down on us. And if you go outside, don't do this. No, if you look out the window, depending on where you live, outside at about 4 or 5 in the morning, it's really, really, really foggy. I mean, you could actually you could see like all of the molecules and particles in the air. So we have all this in the air, the pollen, because it's a new year now. We in Aries. Oh, wait, we in the fire energy, y'all. We just had a new year on Thursday. So we got this new year with the pollen, because it's spring now, and we got all of this here in the air. So people getting congested, and people getting hit every which way. And then we have this energy of thought, where we have this plasma type energy in the air, because this is like, how they say the ancestors are coming. So that particular energy, because all is energy, even our ancestors, so to speak. And so that energy is in the air also. And so they're trying to cover it up with chemtrails. I posted this here. Oh, No, I didn't post this. I found this here. I don't know if y'all gonna be able to see this, but it's like, you ever seen like clouds when they didn't have whole lot of chemtrails, clouds in the sky, and they'd be purple and yellow and like chakra colors. Well, I took a picture of this. This is the red sun rising in a plasma sky. Let me see if y'all be able to see this. See this here? And so all of those puffy clouds, that's what you'll be seeing. Like we're seeing a lot of fake clouds, puffy chemtrails. And so there's so much beauty behind it though, but so much energy behind it though as well. You know how like in the Bible, okay, we'll go to the word. In the Bible, they talk in Revelation. Revelation, what does revelation mean? To reveal something. There we go. So this is a time where things are being revealed, in the cloud, in the sky, in the clouds and all. And so there's a veil that is lifted, so to speak. The veil that's lifted off of the universe is the energy of the ancestors, of the planets, of the worlds, of the universes, all right? So we're feeling that, how they talk about the ancestors coming, planet Nubaru is coming. All of that energy is what we're feeling now, but it's trying to be covered up so that we don't actually look in the sky and see it just yet. We're gonna see it. I guess the powers that be don't want us to be afraid of it all at once. So they say, go inside. They know all this stuff going on with us, with our avatar self, with our awakening self. Go inside. They want to contain you to stay in your house. And they're gonna tell you, okay, we got a little virus thing that's going on. Meanwhile, a lot of it got to do with some of the things that they're putting in the air while people get so congested and, having these respiratory issues and coughing type issues. But I personally don't know nobody with it in the physical plane. And then, but if back to what I was saying though, if you know of the things that happened in the past with a lot of other fear tactics that's already been given to us, you could kind of look back at them and be like, wait, something else going on up in here. When that's just like knowing somebody who's a player or maybe a thief, a liar or whatever, you already know that they'll get over. So you can sit back and watch them and be like, nah, you lying to me. There's something bigger than that. And so that's why it's so important to know the past in order for you to know the future or the present, what's going on and the tricks that's going on in front of your eyes. And so then you have the ability to not be afraid of this person. You could just look at this person and be like, oh, I know you'll get over. I know it's not that. I know it's something greater. I know that it's time for the seasons to change up in here. I know it's time for some people to fall down and others to rise. I know it's something different. So you can be as wise as a serpent, but as gentle as a dove. Remember that? And wise as a serpent. Serpent has crown, serpent energy, corona energy. Be as wise as a serpent. That creates consciousness. But be as calm and at peace and as gentle as a dove, because your heart chakra is already open to your higher self. You see how all of this here ties together? I'm hoping that I'm delivering this. I'm hopeful that I'm delivering this well to you. I'm almost finished here. Let me check my comment before I go too far. Let's see. Hi, we appreciate you all. Hi, Duran. Peace and love to all. Hi, Ryan. Let's see. Okay, somebody tagging somebody else's name here. It's lovely and windy. I'm really cool weather. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. When I finish this, I'm going outside too. Yes, all is well, Marquita. All is well. Seen 11 again. 11. A portal is open. We're in the midst of a portal. It's awakening. Yep, it's extra thick. Yes. Okay. Aries, fire season. Okay. I've seen it. And they say I'm crazy. Yeah, it's time for the crazy people to come forward, though. It's our season. It's time for the introverted people like myself to come forward, though, because it's our season. Because a lot of introverted people, they keep these things in. They pay attention to everything. They might sit up in the back of the room and don't say anything like all week. I don't really think I really talk to that many people, but my mental has been on a roll. Like, oh, I gotta tell them this. I gotta tell them this. But anyway, back to the program. So another one, I talked about that. Another one is going to be coming. Another, the 5G and then the 6G. So at what point are you going to make the change or make the shift to catch up and stay connected? Well, not catch up, to stay connected with the collective, because the collective conscious is evolving to higher self. And that's what this all is about, evolving to higher self. And so I talked about the chemtrails, the plasma energy, the sun energy from Ra. This is why also I want to share this with you. You'll see the pictures of Jesus, and then, I already shared that it says in the biblical text, the Lord thy God is a sun and shield. But when you see those pictures of Jesus, you'll see the little sun, the little halo. It'll always be about the crown, right? And then Jesus, I don't know how he does his hand off top, just out of memory, but I know he's pointing to the heart. And so predating the biblical text, in Maya, it shares with you, your heart should be weighed on a scale, and it should be as light as a feather, because this is how you enter into higher consciousness. This is how you connect with source energy, whether you are in church, whether you don't believe in that and just believe in the universe. Everything has to start with this heart chakra, because this heart chakra, this heart energy has enough energy to quicken your immune system, to allow you to tap into higher forms of energy, and to allow you to create your crystals fluid in order for you to be like the I Am Lucy person, in that movie, just having all knowing, because you're tuned in at that point. You tapped into the infinite, to the source. And so this is where we're rising to. And so, so as far as right now, this is not the time to be doing drugs. This is not the time to be smoking cigarettes, for your immunity. It's not the time to be eating chaotic and thinking negative thoughts. It is a time and season that we should be stepping up to our higher self. And then you'll find, I posted this in one of my groups, you'll find that people, because the seasons are changing, that people are stepping down. You see, like the CEOs of big corporations, they're stepping down. I posted, what's his name, Harry and Meghan, how they stepping down, and so that ties back to like seasons of when others ruled. And so these people in higher places, they know that their time or their season has expired, so they step down, because guess what? It's somebody else time to rule. Now you fill in the blank for who else you think can be ruling now. Because I don't like to get into the meaningless debates of black, white, of feminine, masculine. You fill in the blank. But the season has shifted. The pendulum swinging is on another area. It's in another area. It might not be time for it to be born. It might be time for it to die. Even with, as far as church is concerned, and as far as the government is concerned, all of that has a season too. It's a time for it maybe to die. And that's pretty much what's happening here. We're not going to be relying on money always. We're not going to be relying on a president always. And it's beautiful, though. You can look at the beauty in it, because even though they have a lot of scare tactics, and even though I don't watch the news, for example, I know that it is purposeful. I know that they're harnessing the energy of the people in the universe. It is beautiful that they're making some people afraid. You see, it is beautiful, because in making them afraid, they're asking through thought, through worry, not to be afraid anymore. You see, the blessings of God are yea and amen. But it goes according to how you feel, and you get blessed based upon what you ask for. And so a person that is experiencing fear, really and truly at the core of what they're doing, is they're asking to feel protected. They're asking for love. They're asking maybe for a better world. If they're so disgusted with Mr. Trump, just the thought of him, just to look at him, guess what? They're asking for him to be no more. Because see, we're in this duality. You can't just have one thought without the other side of that thought existing. You just have to pay attention to what side of that thought you're going to vibrate on. Just like if you're going to be thinking in fearful thought, you're over here, but the other reality of other side of that thought being no fear at all still exists. You just get to pick and choose which one you're going to vibrate on. But because both of them exist, there are other people that may be thinking of the positive, and that might outweigh yours, and it will create a positive universe, pretty much what is happening, a positive universe for us all. And so I just wanted to share that with you all. There's a blessing in the midst of the storm. There's a blessing in the midst of the storm, because guess what? We have to evolve. We can't have no laggers up in here, because we want to meet God. We want to get connected back to source. We want to tap into our own power. We want to explore other dimensions, other realms. That's what this is all about. And it's going to always be us evolving, no matter how high, because we live in a boundless universe. Maybe it is the end for religion too, is what I'm saying. Not just the end for maybe the medical industry and in the government, but maybe religion too. Maybe it's the end of that for you to realize, wait, hold up, all this time, I am the anointed one. I have the crystal's fluid ability to secrete. And it was in my blood all the time. It was my birthright, and I didn't know. Here I am ducking in the church, talking about, oh, he coming back. But it was me that needed to come back to my senses, come back to life. It was my dry bones that needed to be renewed. And so that is my message. All throughout my YouTube channel, that has been my message, my story to you. And it is a beautiful time that now you all are paying attention. Now the conspiracy theorists like myself, maybe we're not that crazy after all. Maybe we're not. Maybe we don't just get up and, and go to a room and buy lights and black screens and green screens and microphones to just come on here and just talk crazy. Maybe we don't. Maybe we knew all the while and we just loved you so much. And we put on clothes, because I'm not going out, son, in this pretty dress to get dirty sitting on the porch. Maybe we put on clothes just to talk to you, just to question you and inspire you to become a better version of yourself, to tap into your own frequency and realize we are gods. It is written. So think it not strange, think it not robbery, to be equal with God. So here we go. Let's see. God, the righteousness judge, the end of the wicked and the peace of the godly. Yes. So that's really all that I have today in this particular service, Corona Church. I'm serious, you all. I really want or desire you all to tap into who you really are, because we are some powerful beings. We are some powerful beings with our thoughts. We create worlds. We create planets, just like our ancestors, and we have ancestors that own planets, y'all. Imagine that we inspire our children. You could be the president of the United States of America. No, how about you could own a planet, son? Because you're pure positive energy. Just like Ra owns this planet. This is why, okay, so we have these children of the sun, and then we have the children of the earth. And so the children of the sun, you fill in the blanks on who you think the children of the sun are. They can withstand the sun. They love being in the sun. It's like the sun is just kissing them on the crown and wakening them up and downloading information to them. But there are some people who are not really connected to the sun like that. And they're tied to having a season about themselves. They're tied to having a different makeup about themselves. That's all. But we all get a season to experience ourselves, to be ahead and not the tail. Remember that? I'll make you the head and not the tail. It's all about you. It's all about you. And that new heaven and that new earth. It's all about where we're evolving to. And I'm just hopeful that that you got it. You got the message. I'm hopeful that you got it because I gave my heart in it to get it to you. Because I've been in church all my life. And this is how I put the biblical text together. I apply the word to me. Because when I was a little girl, I didn't know how to apply it. But one thing I knew for sure when I was reading that book of Exodus, when I was a little girl, I was like, these people sound like my family. You know, this little stiff-necked generation. You know, them so-called Hebrew Israelites that they was talking about. One thing for sure, when I was 12 years old, I resonated with them in that story. And the blessings that they receive when they come back into the grace of God, or the curses that they was going to receive back in, I think, Deuteronomy, when he talked about the curses. Some of us have been asleep in the so-called curses or low frequency we existed in for a while. But it's time for us to receive our blessings. It is our season to rise. So with that being said, the doors of the church are open. And that means if you're on my YouTube watching me, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to look at these comments one more time, and then I'm going to get up out of here and go sit in the sun. Yes, that is it. Be blessed and have a beautiful Sunday. From my heart to yours. Rise. It's time to rise. Goodbye.